Welcome to the Driver's Line. I'm Greg.
And I'm Jordan.
We've got a conversation for you.
We do have a conversation for you because this is our third installment in our United States of Cars episode series.
That's right. And this time we are traveling from California to New York State.
That's right. Coast to coast, baby. West Coast versus East Coast. New York, New York. Well, as a former New Yorker.
Yeah.
Anyway.
From the mean streets of Long Island.
I was born in Queens, all right? Astoria, Queens, but whatever. So, just like all episodes of our United States of Cars, we'll be picking cars that represent three unique, distinct areas of New York State.
All right. And so we are going to go, of course, do New York City because you cannot talk about New York without talking about the city.
Naturally.
And then we're going to go ahead and move out of the city to the luxury of the Hamptons. And then, of course, we're going to wrap it up with the snowy western part of the state in Buffalo.
That's right. Awesome. So, where else to start but, of course, the Big Apple, right?
Let's do it.
It's unavoidable. What else is unavoidable is the horrible decision that New York made in selecting the Nissan NV200 as the successor to the legendary Crown Vic. Now, I would probably pick the Crown Vic to represent New York City because, I mean, honestly, it is pretty legendary, right?
It is, absolutely.
And whenever you think about Law and Order or you think about those cop shows, right, or anything like that, taxi cabs, the Crown Vic comes to mind. And it's totally understandable. But we've kind of moved on past that, and New York is now represented by a horrendous Japanese minivan that, I know, I'm saying this, I know.
This guy likes vans.
I know. But it's terrible. It rides horribly. They're unreliable. They've got these tiny little wheels that are not built to withstand
the
New York potholes.
Yes.
And they're hideous. And there were so many better choices at the time to pick from. I just cannot believe that that is what they selected. And you know what? They discontinued it. So now, well, you're stuck with 500 of these things littering the streets of Manhattan and Bronx and Queens. I mean, they're just so bad. And this is what represents New York. Hopefully, we can move in a different direction because it's shameful.
Yes, it's very shameful. No, it's a really good choice. I mean, it's a bad choice, but a good choice.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, I too chose a small van because, according to the Department of Transportation, 97,000 of these come into the city every day.
Wow.
And I'm talking about delivery trucks.
Ah, yes.
And I mean, there are so many businesses, restaurants, stores, everything that needs to be serviced on the tiny island of Manhattan and the city at large, that there are so many of these that come into the city every day. And I was like, what best personifies the one that could service the city? Like, I mean, maybe a big box truck? No, that doesn't really fit in the city. Semis? Of course not. So I chose something very similar to the NV200 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I chose the Ford Transit Connect.
Ah, yes.
And so these are just like, you see them, they're florists. Yeah. They're food delivery. They're just serve every type of little business. You know, they're going to serve like the boulangerie. They're going to serve, anything that is needed within New York City is going to be crammed into one of these teeny little vans and then shuffled into the city because they can actually park. They can actually get around within the city.
Well, the Transit Connect would have been an option too, and for the cabs. I'm not sure why they wouldn't went with it because it's a better vehicle.
It is a better vehicle than the NV, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Or the Chevy City Express is what they branded it. I think as some of those options. Well, it's just terrible. But yeah, I think the Transit Connect is a great pick. I actually rode in a Transit Connect cab once. They had some of those too, and it was good.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's fine. Yeah. To me, that is the most New York City car, just because, again, those frankly, it's just the teeny little van, I think, is really what I think we're trying to tell you here. Is that you're going to go to New York City, you're going to see a bunch of these teeny little vans driving around. Everywhere. Because probably they just make such good use of their space, which is obviously super important in a city like New York.
For sure. And it's probably going to be dented up and have, like, janky letters that someone applied to it.
A little spray paint on it, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. Rust necessary, too. Yeah.
We've been working hard in the city. Let's take a break.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll head out to the Hamptons.
Nice relaxing trip out to the Hamptons. Couple-hour drive out east. And what do we do in the Hamptons, right? It's a relaxing, luxurious environment that celebrities frequent and have vacation homes in.
Of course. Of course.
The Hamptons are a place of tradition. You try not to break the mold too much, right? But you got to stand out a little bit too.
Well, you got to be fancy because
you're a celebrity.
Yeah, you're a celebrity. You're parking at your mansion out of the Hamptons.
You got to impress people.
Got to impress people. You don't want to show up in a Ford Transit Connect.
Right, exactly. So when I think of the Hamptons, I think someone who's rich, wants to make a statement, maybe enjoys the outdoors a little bit because it's a beach town. So my selection comes from the land of Mercedes. Ooh, that's right. I went with the Mercedes-Benz G63 AMG 4x4 squared. That's right. We're lifting up that G-Wagon because we want to go on the beach. And we want to sit higher than all the other plebes littering the Hamptons, right? So we want that elevated suspension. We need that fantastic, loud V8 that's within that G-Class. But inside, we want to live in a lap of luxury, and we want to buy something that's truly unique. And hey, at over $350,000, there's not many of those rolling around.
No, there are not, sir.
Nope.
Well,
so that was my pick for the Hamptons.
That's a fantastic choice. I mean, G-Wagon, and it just exudes pomp and circumstance, right? Like, I mean, you see one of those coming, it's an occasion. That's you see a 4x4 squared coming, it'll probably be the only one you see until you get squashed by it.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty unique.
So, it's a good choice. It's a good
those
choice.
portal axles.
Yes, those, yes.
Just to really just go to the supermarket. Well, you're not even doing that. No. You're not doing that.
You got help.
You got help to do that.
Frankly, you probably also have, a beach vehicle. So that's kind of the way I looked at it. Like, they already had something they were taking on the beach. So I really wanted to get them something that would get them from Manhattan to their place in the Hamptons in the ultimate luxury, but give them the comfort, the style, the open-airedness that you want when you go to the beach, right? Like, you want to be able to feel that sea breeze in your hair in the summertime.
Yeah, for that 2 months out of the entire year.
Yeah, and if you decide to go there in the winter to visit your beach house in the winter, you're going to need all-wheel drive to get you there. And so I've got that too. And so, of course, I am talking about the Bentley Continental GTC Mulliner.
Very nice.
And because you are, someone you're a New York elite, you have to look like you care about the environment, so your Bentley comes with a hybrid V8, making north of 700 horsepower.
Very nice. So if you've been keeping track, we've both picked the Bentley Continentals.
For fancy places.
For fancy places. I went West Coast, Greg went East Coast.
Yes.
They're basically the same place, but on two opposite ends of the country.
Right, except I knew that I would need all-wheel drive being in the north. And so I was like, I need an all-wheel drive vehicle that's also convertible, that's also luxury. Yeah. And I was like, this is going to be perfect all-season car.
I like it.
For someone who lives in a fancy place.
Yes, if it ever snows in Long Island ever again.
I know, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So anyways, needless to say, with your V8 spitting out all those fumes,
we don't care.
We don't care.
That's all right.
You can write to him at jmarmar@gmail.com.
No, I'll just drive around on my Tesla the other time.
There you go.
Multiple cars in the garage.
You can write to him at jmarmar@gmail.com for supporting Elon Musk.
All right. Well, you were concerned about snow on Long Island, which I'll be honest, probably not too much fun. But Buffalo, definitely going to be concerned.
Yeah, big concern about snow in Buffalo. Yeah. So as we traverse to the western part of New York State here, we are going to the snowy city of Buffalo, New York.
And naturally, that was a consideration when I was selecting my vehicle. And I wanted to pick something that, when you're driving around in the snow, your car's going to get a little messed up, all right? So I wasn't trying to pick anything too super luxurious. And I also thought about Buffalo as being like, we got a college town there. There's a lot of families that live in the area. It's a working class town, right? So it's got to be a vehicle that people can afford, that can get them reliably through the snow and safely in that purpose. So I selected a car that I think is synonymous with families that have to deal with the weather environments, and that is the Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that choice.
It's a classic pick for a family of, 4 or so that needs to get from A to B and not have to worry about the elements. And it's a timeless pick, really.
It is. That's a really good choice. I mean, because it's going to do extremely well in adverse conditions. It's got the unibody construction, so it's still somewhat comfortable to drive. and it's always just been a very, very common choice for people that live in that area, right?
Jeeps are very popular.
It's just just really, really popular because it handles everything they need it to do. So that's a good choice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What'd you pick?
So I went kind of along the same lines, but different. The way I looked at it is the folks in Buffalo are going to be very supportive of American brands. And so I really thought that they would probably choose an American brand, so I went with the most American brand, which is Chevrolet. And obviously it needs to be a sport utility vehicle because it's going to have ground clearance to get over the snow. It's going to have decent all-season or snow tires on it. It's going to need all-wheel drive at a minimum or four-wheel drive. And I went with the Traverse.
Ah, yes, a similar direction there.
Yeah, sort of a similar direction. Obviously, not quite as hard off-roady, foul weather condition as the Grand Cherokee, but it's going to be something that's going to get them, through those plowed streets with ease. Some of that can seat up to
especially the Z71.
Yeah, if you get the new fancy Z71 Traverse.
Yeah, it's got space.
It's got plenty of space, so it can seat up to 8, which is kind of surprising. You can actually put 8 people in the Traverse, which is a lot of people. And so if you want to go to your Bills game, you can take 8 people to that Bills game, throw that table on top that you're going to jump through. The Traverse has got you checked out for that, my friend.
I love it. That's a great pick. That's fantastic.
So, again, I don't know what it makes me think of the folks being up there in Buffalo and the Rust Belt, being really committed to American vehicles, but I think we both somehow kind of saw that and really wanted that to be something for New York.
I absolutely agree with that, 100%. Awesome. Well, we would love to hear what you would pick for these. So go ahead and write on there or give us a comment. What 3 cars would you pick for these 3 unique New York locations? Yeah, we'd be really interested to see what you guys think. So drop that in the comments, as Jordan said. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us on The Driver's Line. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss a thing.